Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 2 days before San Antonio. I am
Brian,
excited.
you going down that millionaire mine?
I am going down there. Look at that. There's Alan in the Millionaire Mind Boot Camp, November 17th and 18th. If you're anywhere in the area, 2 hours, 3 hours drive, come and
Get
visit.
down there and see Brian and
Right,
see
yeah.
Alan.
Come and visit us probably Friday night, Friday after the boot camp.
Yeah, Friday we got some time. If you guys want to meet at the Bulldog Tavern, we'll go ahead and buy you a drink.
Yeah, there you go. I'm excited because if you look at our weather, so our high is 57 today. Is where did I put San Antonio? Is their lows of the days. So and actually it was a really nice day being, mid 50s. So um I'm thrilled. I was there last November, did the Millionaire Mind boot camp. It it's quite eye opening. Um it touches your soul, for lack of a better description. Daniel's the type that can get to you and get you to understand that you can be more, and all you got to do is ask, and believe in yourself. And he's a very good, for lack of a better word, cheerleader in regards to that. So um like I said, I went down last November, um almost probably to the year. Going down again. Alan's been to a couple more than I have, but yeah, like I said, if you guys are in the neighborhood, Alan and I would love to sit down and chat. Um, speak, Speaking of chatting, so yesterday someone reached out to me and said, "Hey, can you call me?" Um, so we spent, I don't know, 30 minutes last night chatting about stocks and the charts. Um, his question was, so when Alan posts these, or when Alan emails these trades, for example, yesterday it was Oxy 62 calls and RTX 84 calls. His question, and I think a lot of you guys have the same question, is okay, when am I buying this? What expiration? And my comment was Alan usually always plays the weeklies. Alan never holds over the weekend. It's rare that Alan does because, and Alan, keep me honest, if you hold over the weekend, you have that weekend risk. You have 2 days where anything can happen. So when you're holding over a weekend, or where you're not playing the weeklies, you're you're opening up yourself to that sort of risk. And that's, I think, Alan and I especially, we're short-term traders. We rarely hold overnight unless there's opportunities. Um, I think we need to be better about checking the earnings, because I think we're back into earnings season, and I haven't really paid much attention to it, other than I know that some retail trader or retails um, are reporting this week. So it'd be interesting to see what they say about the economy. I know that the Fed came out and I was looking at charts this morning at 7:30, the market just spiked up. And I looked back at it and said, well, what happened? And it turns out it was inflation announcements. Um, Inflation's not as bad. Market's going nuts. Um, I'm still on the boat that they're not looking at the whole picture, because if they were to look at, borrowing, if they were to look at credit cards, if they were to look at auto loans, and how much a new monthly payment is for an automobile, um, all that's got to come due. People got to pay the piper. So I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to spend too much time on bad news, or what I believe is, you know, what I don't think they're seeing. I want to focus on the market. Today, like I said, it was rather bullish. We got the news in the morning. I posted this yesterday. This was my, and actually, so this was my Google trade. Google triggered long in the afternoon. It did have like a choppy morning. But if you recall in my last week's video, I was quite bullish on Google because of this daily chart. So this Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, right about here, we're seeing this rise. This gap is up to 138. So I like this rise. I like the technical indicators on it. I follow this MACD, which is coming up. I'm still somewhat bullish on Google, and had I held that Google trade from Monday, I don't know, did I mention what calls in this? I didn't. I thought I did. Maybe not. I want to say 132 calls. And we're up to 134, 135. So in any case, so yeah, the technology is doing well today. Financials are doing well today. If you guys are curious, one way to play the financials, let me get back there. And I gotta preface this with, these are somewhat dangerous. FAS. It is the, let's see here. FAS. EFT Trust Daily Financial Bull. And these are 3 times what the normal S&P or the ticker for the financials is. So they move, and they move quite a bit. Here we went from 59 up to 64. So that's one way to play the financials. On the flip side of that is oil and defense. And Alan and I are kind of scratching our heads on this one. I tell people oil is so far has been beaten down quite a bit. It needs to rise. And these past couple of days it has, but it seems like it's facing a lot of headwinds, which I don't quite understand. Had you played Alan's Oxy trade yesterday and kept it, I think the 62 calls, you're still somewhat green. I was looking at this earlier. 2-day, 5-minute. So I think Alan called them around here, which was around 35, 36. It closed the day at 42, 43, but they did spike up in the morning up to a double. And for those of you, because I know there's some out there that you get the weekly calls, the stock doesn't move, and by the time the stock moves into your strike price, your option has already lost so much money. So if you look at Oxy today, we opened up, we gapped up, and then sold off. Had we sold off and then gapped up, those 62 options would be a lot less expensive. It's just the way it is. The opening, whatever, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, sets the tone for the expectations of the stock. So when we gapped up, calls are going to get more expensive. When we gap down, that's where the puts come into play, and the puts become more expensive. it's that expectation, and it's much harder to make up that loss. Like I said, if Oxy would have gapped down and then rallied, I don't believe that the options would have made up that initial loss. The last thing I'm going to show on Thinkorswim, because I know some of you guys are on it, is what's called the trade flash. It's a little widget over on the left-hand side, and if you don't see this box, you can expand on it, and then add widgets as you so see fit. But the trade flash will give you large buying positions. Mark to sell or market to order. So that's an interesting place to go as well for these high volume trades. I don't see anything out. You know what? I wonder, did Home Depot report?
Yeah, Home
5.2%.
Depot recorded today, so Home Depot and Lowe's had a great day.
Yeah. It looks they were up 5%.
6.3%.
And I think Lowe's follows Home Depot.
Usually they follow the same week, but I think it's next week, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Lowe's might see it, and you know, Lowe's gapped up in sympathy with Home Depot. So it'd be interesting to go back to their earnings call and see what they said in regards to the economy and in regards to the actual buyer.
They were not optimistic at all, so Home Depot started the day down.
hmm,
And then all of a sudden they turned it around and got up. And then when the inflation numbers came up, it went skyrocketed.
yeah. And maybe that's, you see, and like I said, I get that they're looking at the cost of goods and the, you know, inflation's tamed or inflation's not as bad as it seems. But I truly do believe that the average consumer is relying more on debt or on credit to make up for these costs. From what I've seen, and I'm kind of going back into my bearish negative kind of thing, and I'm sorry because I probably shouldn't, because like I said, we had a pretty green day. Actually, we had a very green day, up to 450, so almost 2% up on the SPY. DJIA. Oh shoot, got DJI. DJ. Oh, are these the futures? I'm trying to look at the Dow on the Thinkorswim, and I don't know the ticker for it. DJI. That's Dow Chemicals. Anyway. So besides San Antonio, Alan, what are you looking forward in regards to the market? I know RTX is kind of frustrating you.
Well, I think the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to see something that happens in the north of Lebanon. And I think when that takes off, or what happened in Yemen, where they go ahead and fire some more missiles, and maybe Israel will go ahead and fire on Yemen, I think you're going to go ahead and see some, some spikes up there. But right now, the markets are telling you nobody cares. The market tells you that nothing's going to happen and everything's going to be hunky-dory, and Israel's going to win this thing, and there's nothing to see here.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, fireworks are over, and Eventually they'll straighten it out without bombs or without warfare.
Yeah. So that's that. In terms of if you had taken the trade with Oxy and Rite Aid, you couldn't have lost. You would have won. Now the question is, should you have held? I think so. Oxy's still in the green. RTX took a pretty big beating today, and they're in the negative. But I got in at a low price, so it's hard to say how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
I'm only down $200 on the trade, but I'm up more than that on Oxy. Now, what it is that I only give you stuff that basically is going to be a weekly for the week. That's how it's done. None, if it's a day trade, I'm only going to give it to you if I see something that you don't see on the app. So you got to get the app to go ahead and get the day trade, because I'm doing the same thing as you. You should have been in Home Depot, load calls after it broke the 5-minute rule. Then you should have went ahead and been Google calls. Then it was Google puts. And then at the end of the day, Home Depot and Lowe's puts. But all this, is indicated if you watch the charts on how this is all playing out. So that's that. What I see for the rest of the week, in theory, I'm thinking you're going to have a down day Thursday or Friday, but I wouldn't bet against this market right now because it's pretty red hot.
Right, definitely. Yeah, and you mentioned the apps giving you the information. It's and that was another question that a fellow member had, was, when do I get in? And I think if you can base around those 5-minute levels, use those as entries and exits. If you're above the 5-minute, get in, but knowing that your stop is at that 5-minute high, and kind of wait for a retracement if you kind of missed that initial jump. You don't have to trade.
Yeah. So when I posted those, I post when I get into the trade. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm not telling you to take the trade, but I'm telling you what I'm doing. So when I send the email, then that means within a minute, 30 seconds, I got into that trade before you. So why I haven't been posting much? Because the thing is that the market is so up and down right now. And basically, it's hard to go ahead and win unless you just do it as a hour or two trade. Nothing's really working on a long-term situation. So that's why I've been cautious. I mean, what's working now is bookings calls, but it doesn't even make logical sense to me, because when everybody was worried about travel, bookings was going down. The big article this morning was travel stocks to get hit because of people cutting back on travel. Well, then booking goes way up today. So it just doesn't make logical sense sometimes.
Yeah, I do believe there's a disconnect between the market and the economy. I hate to say it doesn't make sense, because the market doesn't have to make sense. And the market can be irrational longer than you can stay sane, so to speak. So yeah.
Bring up TTD.
Let me get rid of.
I was kind of bummed. I was in calls on that on Friday.
Let's see here.
TTD.
Let's look at this daily. Oh yeah. Looks like we hit a bottom and then bounced. And they're quite extended from the 20 SMA as well.
Yeah, what did they do today?
They gapped up to 67 and actually closed at 67. So they went from a close yesterday of 63.46 up to a close today at 67. So they were up 6.5%.
Yeah, and they went down 18% on Friday.
Yeah.
Now I
Oh,
almost
because
posted that trade because I was in that TTD trade. Um,
yeah,
yeah,
it looks like that was an earnings.
yeah. What happened is it dropped 19-20% at open, or thereabouts, and I'm like, oh man, this is like a no-brainer trade. The problem is that I was a little late to the dance, so I was in on the 63 calls. I almost made $5,000 on it, but it went to like 63, 30, 40, whatever it was, and then it reversed.
Yeah,
So
yesterday was a red day. Even though it was above, well, actually, let's see, it opened up and closed below, but it never touched that low of 60.23.
this is why I stopped playing earnings, because you're always better off. I call it you're playing the fade, or you're going you're waiting for a bottom, and then that's what you do.
Well, yeah, it tends, stocks tend to overreact, and then, and you'll see this as well when you have, the Fed making announcements at 2 Central. The SPX will just like spike up and then come back down and then spike up, and it'll take a minute or two to get it to kind of settle and to understand what direction it's going in. So you have, this overreaction, I guess, to whatever the earnings were.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, ETD triggered long. Triggered long. Yeah, it looked like today it kind of kept testing the 5-minute high here. Yep, tested it. So finally came up. So yeah.
So prediction tomorrow, look for, this is my guess. I was going to do the trade, but I couldn't get in at a reasonable rate. So when I come up with an idea, or when you see something played out, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and you don't want to go crazy. And so basically I like, as a limit of $200, something like that. To me, it's a lottery ticket. If Home Depot went up 6.5%, I put in all my trades for Home Depot to be short. I caught a $3 drop at the last hour or two. What
And you
should
see,
happen, it should drop 2 to 3% tomorrow.
and you see that from that topping candle that they had today.
Yeah.
308 down to 303. So yeah, 5 points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I do believe that.
If you like to try Tire Shine for only $3 more
If I
in,
look at the SPY
until you
on the
can afford.
daily, I believe this is an overreaction. I really do. I don't know if people are going to come in and try to chase this tomorrow. But I believe
So
by Friday we're going to be below this 450 or 448 level.
the problem is, at some point, as this thing continues to go on, you're going to go ahead and see Hezbollah join in with Hamas. And if they go ahead and bomb northern Israel, or they bomb them, or they get into something, or something happens with Iran, you will see the markets drop 1,500 points before you can even, get in on it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you do have those two wild cards of Iran and Lebanon, that,
and Jordan.
and Jordan, to an extent, yeah.
Yeah. So keep your eyes there. But right now, the markets are telling you nobody cares. Nobody cares. There's nothing to see. Move on, and we're buying stocks.
Right, exactly, yeah. And people are gonna kind of, what's gonna happen is people are gonna chase this. They're gonna, they're gonna be missing out. They're gonna jump in, and then we're gonna pop. So,
All right,
okey-doke.
Brian. I will see you on Thursday, man. Make sure you go
Definitely.
ahead and have on your bring your swimming gear, because it's gonna be hot.
Yeah, a high of 77, which is amazing. So, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I
So
can't
bring
wait.
your suntan lotion.
Okie doke. Yeah, anyone in the vicinity, Friday afternoon, Friday evening, get in touch with us somehow, and maybe we'll reach out. We'll reach out on Friday morning or whatever to the group, kind of say hi.
Are we gonna do one of those things where we ride around a golf cart again? That was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. Okie doke. Sounds good. Thank you, Ellen.
All right.
See you
All right,
Thursday.
we'll see you.
Bye,
Yeah.
everybody. Have a good rest of the week. We'll talk to you later.